Hey guys, welcome back to a new video on the Twicefold channel and welcome to day 2 of the Advent calendar. Yesterday, we created these presents that fly out of the sky and we can click them and nothing really happens. And I think today we should work on our first weapon. Remember, we're creating a Christmas survival game where you get weapons and use those to fight off against mobs. So without further ado, let's get into it. First things first is in replicated storage, I have this stick. Well, actually, I've had it from last episode, but I didn't feel like coding this considering it was literally my longest episode yet. So let's grab the stick and we're gonna get started. So right now, what we want is for this stick to summon when we get the presents. But for testing purposes, let's put it inside of our starter pack. That way, when we play the game, we're going to have the stick. Now, in coding, game development, especially for weapons, it's common practice to have a little dummy that we can test it on, our weapons and stuff to make sure that it works. So let's go into the avatar section and click on, sorry, character, and let's create just a regular R15 block avatar. We're just gonna call this guy Dummy. And now let's give him some better. Actually, no, I like the regular dummy body colors. So, first things first is we're gonna need a local script, a server script or regular script, and a remote event to send data between these two. It's called a server script weapon server, the local script weapon client, and we'll just call the remote event for now. So all we want from the client is remember this common principle when coding. Do not give the client any more data than it needs. Understood? All that's saying is let's say there's a hacker who wants to exploit your game. If we give the client all this data, he can use that data against you, which is why we need to make the client in a position where it only sends data that it already has, not data that we give it, other than stuff like the amount of coins you have or something. The amount of currency you have, the amount of damage you've dealt for like UI and stuff. So, without further ado, Let's first make let's first address the weapon, aka the stick. So if you have multiple weapons in the future, what's gonna happen is we want to make it not only inclusive of the stick, which is why I'm addressing to it as a weapon. So let's first see if the weapon dot activated is called. So if someone equips, let me just show you. Let's just print activated for now. So let's say I'm gonna come and try to whack this dummy over here. We're gonna click and look, activated, activated, activated. So now that we got that data, we're probably gonna want the position of the mouse when we're clicking, right? So like if we click on the dummy's torso, we're gonna need to stick to recognize that that's the torso of the dummy and deal damage to the dummy. So let's do that by going to addressing our player local PLR is equal to game.players.local player. We're going to grab our mouse, player.mouse, get mouse. And we're just going to toss some data over to our server. And to do that, we're going to first need to grab our event. So local event is going to be equal to weapon wait for child event. We're gonna wait for child because we're dealing things on the local front here. Let's say the user has a slower PC. Some data might not have been loaded in really quickly. But how it goes is it goes ancestor, then descendants. So this stick is going to be loaded in first, then the weapons client, which is why we don't have to do wait for child for this guy or wait for parent. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, let's send our data over by going to event fire server, and we're gonna send them the mouse dot hit dot position and the mouse dot target dot position. Actually, let's just do mouse dot hit dot position, mouse dot target. So now we're just gonna have to address our these two variables on the server front, and because the server automatically has this data loaded in, we can before any server scripts are loaded, we can just do weapon.event. Pretty cool. We don't want to compromise on waiting for things that we don't need to wait for because that will ruin our game time. So event, and we're gonna need to grab when the server event fires, and as you can see right here, we're going to get our player, our hit position, and our hit target. So, for now, let's just print this. And let's see what we get. So, let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's click. Oh, that is... Sorry, this right here is considered as a method, not a value. So, yeah. You gotta remember that stuff whenever you're coding. Each sort of method, each sort of thing that you code, each symbol represents something. And as you can see, we're getting the position that our character clicked on the dummy. And for example, head, left upper arm, left hand, left lower leg, left foot. Oh, look, you got a present falling down still. And for now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna figure out if this player is real. So let's see right here. We're gonna do a little function, not a function, actually, let's just do it in a regular script. We're gonna do local character. We don't know if it's character yet, so we're just gonna leave it as local character, and we're gonna check if it's a character after we do this variable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do hit target, find first ancestor of class, which, sorry, that isn't correct. Find, let me just do instance.new part just to like, so we get like these little, I get these autocorrect things. It's easier for me. Find first ancestor, which is a model, and replace this instance.new part with a hit target, and if character, and character find first child humanoid. So humanoid basically defines if its character is a humanoid. And autocorrect suggested this, but take damage, in my opinion, is a lot more better because if someone's proofreading your work, they would probably see take. They would probably try to convert it to English. So they would probably see character and then take damage 10. So I think it's pretty easy to say for them to piece that together and go character take damage, character takes 10 damage rather than character.humanoid.health because maybe they'll think that their max health is lower down by 10. It's just wording if we want to get our message across. So let's hit play and let's check it out. Now, let's try to attack our dummy and look at that. We can kill him. So cool. And the thing is, this right here, our player is controlled by our local script. I mean, is controlled locally, which is why if I was to click on myself, I can't really inflict damage to myself. So let's, you know what, we're gonna be toxic. I'm gonna dance on our dummy. Ah, loser. Alright, so what I want to do is just create a basic debounce. Because let's say our guy has an auto clicker, which fires at like 1,000, at like 1 click per millisecond. You can be able to shred these dummies. And, well, shred these players, which, I mean, shred these enti enemies, which isn't really ideal. So let's just create a quick debounce script. a quick debounce, which basically makes sure that which literally just says if the player is clicking too fast, get rid of all those extra requests. And it's also a quick way to just delete all those pending requests so you don't have like these remote events just having all these flicks, and it could like slow down the server if it's too fast or stuff like that. So let's just go to local debounce equals false, and what we're going to want to do is we're just going to do at the top if debounce then return, because we don't want that. We're already having a attack, right? And what we're gonna do is if there isn't a debounce, we're gonna set debounce to true because this thing is already running. This event needs to have priority. This event request, my bad, needs to have priority compared to the other ones because this is like the main one. And let's just do a quick task.wait 0. I don't know why, I just really like doing math.py times 0.1. It's just a lot more, it's a pretty good weight in my opinion. I've used this for something else. Okay, and then debounce equals false. The reason why we're putting these outside is let's say that this thing is still checking in like the milliseconds. We still, just in case this doesn't fire, if we were to just not look at this code, all we're going to see is debounce equals 2, debounce equals false. And if there was an attack, we need to get a little cooldown, which is why we're going to wait. So it's still going to stay in said if statement for 0.31514159265 seconds, and then set the debounce to false. And so let's see it right now. I'm clicking as fast as I can, and as you can see right here, the amount of times that I've clicked doesn't really correlate with the amount of requests. Also, cool thing, they changed the builder logo. Alright, so final thing, we're gonna move this stick right here into server storage, and we're gonna put it in a folder, call this folder weapons, and go into our main. And for right now, we just got mouse click, connect. All we are going to do now is do new weapon is equal to that. That is perfect. Game.serverStorage.weapons, get children, math.random, and we're going to actually take the player because I want to do a really cool thing. So all this does is just grabs a random weapon. So for example, if we have multiple weapons in the future, or yeah. So let's actually create two weapons. Let's do stick and green stick and blue stick, and then make each stick a different color. Boom. And let's see what we got. So the reason why I asked for player is because I want to make some more logic. So we're going to do local characters equal to sorry, player. Sometimes I do PLR, sometimes I do player. Just just depends on how I feel like. We're gonna do player.character, and we're gonna get the humanoid. Thank you. And we're gonna run this little function which equips the tool. So what it'll do is it'll just unequip our tool and equip that, which is just pretty cool. It's like something really small, but it helps out. Quality of life. So look at that. That's our first function. That's our first, not function, first present. And look, we got our blue stick. And now if we go over here, we got our green stick. And so all this is doing is creating random sticks. Sorry, this video is a little bit shorter than yesterday's video, so that I can get this video edited and out quicker, and so that I don't have to sleep at 11:30. So next thing that I probably want to add is like maybe like a little rolling UI. Like if you've seen inside of those RNG games or like those hide and seek games where it like selects the killer and like it shows all the players like a little spinny thing. If something like that would be cool, or maybe like weighted randoms, which is basically common rarity, rare rarity, uncommon rarity, stuff like that. Or maybe actually getting these enemies to work. Because this game is kind of easy. I can just go and kill him and he won't really do anything to me. So yeah, that's the last option is probably what I'm gonna do for the next video. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe, help me out, bless me with a better YouTube algorithm, something like that, whatever they say, and see ya.